Welcome back to Morning Mika. It's time for some exciting news. Nominations for Forbes and Know Your Value's fourth annual 50 over 50 U.S. list are open now, and we are looking for our next class of women who are proving that success has no age limit. We received more than 10,000 submissions for our very first list back in 2021, and we have expanded the list from the U.S. to Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. We went global immediately. This all culminates when we bring together women from our 50 over 50 lists and Forbes 30 under 30 lists for our cross-generational mentoring summit, the 3050 Summit over International Women's Day. It is so amazing to be on this list or to support someone to be on the list. Huma, you're the vice chair of the 3050 Summit. We've worked closely on this list for years now alongside our partners at Forbes. So tell our viewers what we're looking for in terms of nominations and why they should consider nominating themselves. I think they should know their value. You can nominate someone.
You're very good at reminding women they can nominate themselves. And Maggie and I talk about this regularly. We are looking for women who are innovating, women who are looking at a need that needs to be fixed and building a business around it, women who are taking risks and having success at it, women who are growing both their economic power and their political power. But I want to give you two examples from last year's list. Number one is Patti LaBelle, who achieved enormous success as a performer, singer, artist, and then pivoted to go into baking and having a whole line of homeware goods that continues to just get better and better. That was a risk, a huge success. And Sallie Krawcheck, who we had at the summit last month, who we know was a massive success on Wall Street and then decides to pivot and become an entrepreneur and started Ellevest, which has also achieved a record number of investments for any women entrepreneur in a similar position. And so these are just specific examples of women who are doing extraordinary things. Nominate yourself. Think of somebody who's doing something that is taking a risk at over the age of 50, and please submit their names. The last thing Maggie will want to make sure I mention, if you didn't make the list before, think about applying again.
Oh, yeah. Don't take that no for an answer.
Exactly right.
So, Simone, you were at last year's summit. My suggestion, I'm challenged. I think all four of us need to go next year.
Yes, I'm claiming
I hope we can make that happen. Yes. And so just, Simone, your reflections. You were on stage with Ayesha Curry and interviewed amazing women. What struck you about the summit, but also the message of these lists?
I mean, what I loved most about the summit was the intergenerational aspect of it and learning more about women that you think you know, but learning more about their passions and how they have pivoted and how they have some very amazing businesses. Ayesha Curry was one of those people, and people know her as the wife, right, of Steph Curry, NBA basketball superstar. But Ayesha and Steph, they have this amazing foundation that's doing great work. And she has a subscription box that just has a hold on me, y'all. There's so many great things in her box where she highlights women of color, business owners, and Black women specifically. And it is a boon to some of these to a lot of the businesses that have made it on her website and then into her box that goes out to folks across the country. That's not something I knew prior to the 3050 Summit. So I'm excited about going back to Abu Dhabi next year, and we're bringing Jen.
Okay, I like it. It's so on. Okay, we're going to answer some of your questions now. We did tell us you could ask us anything. We're going to get started now. This one's from Lucy on Instagram, who writes, I'm in my 50s and I'm not happy with my job. Oh, is it too late to make a totally crazy career change? I'll take this one. Hell no. It's not too late. I don't know if you just heard everything we've been saying here, but the 50 over 50 list proves that there are more and more women who are reaching their greatest success, their most money, and their greatest happiness well after the age of 50. So you go, girl. And Huma, you've pivoted careers. What's your advice?
I certainly have. I started hiding in the back as a political staffer, trying to avoid the camera, and here I am on this extraordinary show with 3 women who are my mentors, who I also happen to love in every way. And so do it. Like, do the thing that terrifies you. And I can say this with full confidence. I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life, professionally and personally. And it took some risks to get to this place, and I'm happy I did.
Yeah, don't be afraid to scare yourself. Patricia has a question for Jen Psaki. She writes, Jen, I am so excited about your new book. What's your favorite story or anecdote that you write about? I love your book, Jen. It's amazing. There's so many. How are you going to pick one?
Thank you.
I don't know.
Patricia, I'm so excited. You're excited, and thank you for being excited. And Mika, thank you for blurbing my book and for being such a supporter, as always. There's tons of stories in here. As Mika knows well, and now I need to get Huma and Simone copies ASAP. This is not a memoir. It's not about successes in my career. A lot of it is about mistakes I've made and what I've learned from them. There's a lot of embarrassing moments, a lot of moments with people that you may know. Barack Obama, John Kerry, of course, Joe Biden. And one of the stories that sticks out to me is the first moment I met Barack Obama. And we've all probably experienced that moment where you're so intimidated by someone you're meeting. Now I want to know when Huma first met Secretary Clinton and when Simone first met Harris. That's for another time. But I tell the story of how I was so nervous. I practiced what I wanted to say. I was sitting in his car at the airport, and he was going to come off of the plane to get in the car, and I had prepared my line, and I basically was going to say, I'm sure you're wondering who I am and why I'm in your car. Pretty good line, right? Which I spit out. Then I was so nervous, I proceeded to spill the entire contents of my bag. I mean, pens, tampons, maybe, makeup, like on his lap. Yes, and now all of you have been around President Obama. He's pretty chill. He kind of looked at me ironically and helped me load back everything into my bag. I hope he doesn't remember this. But the point is, we long recovered, and I worked for him for 10 years. That's part of the journey of working in politics, working in media, and certainly being around important people. But I have lots of anecdotes and lots of advice on how people can become better communicators. Everyone can.
It's really an effective book, and I thank you for it. Anna on Instagram wants to know, if you could interview anyone on your show, who would it be and why? So, Simone, do you have a absolute wish interview?
I mean, well, this week I really want to talk to Chef Jose Andres, but I would love to talk to Oprah, okay? Y'all know I met Oprah this past summer, and Oprah told me, she said I was doing a very good job, and I was like, oh, Oprah. So I would love Oprah to come join us at the table.
Ooh, I love that.
Jen?
One, I'm obsessed with the Olympics, so I always have Olympians on my list, I will say. I love them. I would love to talk to some of the swimmers, the gymnasts, the soccer players. But I would love to talk to Tish James, which is really in the moment. I just think she has been one of the biggest badasses of the last year. I wouldn't say undercovered. She's been covered. But I think she's been remarkable, and I'd love to just sit down and talk to her. So she's top of my list.
Yeah, I'd like to interview Yulia Navalny. That's
yes.
What I really, really want to talk to her.
That'd
and finally, Andrea on Instagram has a question for me. Okay. Do you regret getting that bell for the desk? Oh, this is the bell I got Joe for Valentine's Day. And no, I don't. It's really loud. It really hurts. But, you know, sometimes you need to take steps. That's all I'm going to say. When you need somebody to wrap it up. I'm being told to wrap it up right now. That was fun, guys. Why don't we do it again next week? Anybody in?
I'm in.
We'll be here.
All right. Okay. And if you have a question that you want answered, reach out to us on Know Your Values social media channels. That does it for Morning Mika. We'll be back next week on YouTube and Peacock.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon. and enjoy it.